Once America's favorite goalkeeper and a symbol of female empowerment in sports, she now lives a life far removed from her days of glory. In this video, we're going to take you through the complete journey of Hope Solo, from her troubled childhood to becoming the world's best goalkeeper, and the series of incidents that led to her dramatic downfall. What exactly happened to the woman who once seemed untouchable? And how did she end up where she is today? Before she became one of the greatest goalkeepers in soccer history, Hope Solo's life was anything but easy. Growing up in the small town of Richland, Washington, Hope faced challenges that would have broken most people. Her father, Jeffrey Solo, struggled with homelessness and addiction, drifting in and out of her life in unpredictable ways. When Hope was just 6 years old, her parents divorced, leaving her mother, Judy, to raise Hope and her brother, Marcus, while working multiple jobs to keep the family afloat. Despite these difficult circumstances, something special was brewing in young Hope. Her athletic abilities showed up early, not just in soccer, but in multiple sports. By the time she reached high school, Hope wasn't even playing goalkeeper yet. She was a forward with an incredible scoring touch, netting 109 goals during her time at Richland High School. This versatility and understanding of offensive play would later give her a unique perspective as a goalkeeper. The financial struggles at home meant Hope often couldn't afford the typical path other elite youth players took. While her teammates had private coaching and attended expensive soccer camps, Hope relied purely on raw talent and determination. Her high school coach once remarked, "Hope had this fire in her eyes when she played, like she was fighting for something much bigger than just winning a game." Perhaps the most formative relationship in Hope's early life was with her father. Despite his troubles, Jeffrey Solo instilled in Hope a fierce independence and taught her to question authority, traits that would later define both her greatness and her controversies. When Jeffrey temporarily lived in a tent in the woods near their home, Hope would still visit him. Early coaches recall Hope's frustration with being confined to the goal box after years of freedom on the field. But her athleticism, quick reflexes, and understanding of offensive strategy quickly made her exceptional at the position. At Washington, Hope didn't have the luxury of playing with elite teammates. The Huskies were often outmatched in the competitive Pac-10 conference, which put enormous pressure on their goalkeeper. Game after game, Hope faced barrages of shots that other keepers might see across several matches. This baptism by fire transformed her into a shot-stopping machine. By her senior year, she had been named an All-American and attracted attention from the national team scouts. But Hope's path to the USWNT wasn't smooth either. Her initial tryouts were met with skepticism from coaches who questioned whether her aggressive style and outspoken personality would fit the team culture. She was cut multiple times before finally earning her spot. One former coach admitted, "We all saw the talent, but we also saw the volatility. Some of us wondered if the brilliance was worth the baggage." Hope didn't just want to make the team, she wanted to change the position itself. At a time when women's goalkeeping was often passive, Hope introduced an aggressive, commanding presence. She studied film obsessively, perfected her distribution skills, and developed the ability to act as a field general from the back. By 2005, she had secured the starting position on the national team, though not without controversy when she publicly criticized the decision to bench her during the 2007 World Cup semifinal loss. That controversial criticism after the 2007 World Cup was just the beginning of Hope Solo's complicated relationship with authority. What happens when the very traits that make an athlete legendary, confidence, defiance, and uncompromising standards, begin to sabotage their own success? From 2008 to 2015, Solo established herself as the most dominant goalkeeper in women's soccer history. During this period, she shattered records that seemed untouchable, including surpassing Brianna Scurry's national team shutout record with her 72nd clean sheet in 2014. Her cat-like reflexes and commanding aerial presence made scoring against her nearly impossible. The numbers don't lie. Solo maintained an astonishing 55-game unbeaten streak with the national team between 2012 and 2014, perhaps the most impressive run of form ever seen from a goalkeeper. The 2011 World Cup showcased Solo at her absolute peak. Despite the USA falling short in the final against Japan, Solo's heroics throughout the tournament earned her the bronze ball as the third best player of the competition. Her penalty save against Brazil in the quarterfinals remains one of the most clutch moments in American soccer history. Then came the 2012 London Olympics, where Solo recorded 3 consecutive shutouts in the knockout rounds, including a masterclass against Japan in the gold medal match that avenged their World Cup defeat. Solo's star power transcended sports. Her outspoken personality and undeniable talent made her marketable in ways few female athletes had experienced. She appeared on Dancing with the Stars in 2011, reaching unprecedented mainstream exposure. When she posed nude for ESPN The Magazine's Body issue in 2011, it represented both empowerment and controversy, a theme that would define her career. Major brands like Nike, Gatorade, and Simple Skincare signed endorsement deals with Solo, recognizing her appeal extended far beyond soccer fans. But as Solo's fame grew, so did the controversies. In June 2014, she was arrested on domestic violence charges after an alleged altercation with her half-sister and teenage nephew at their home in Washington. According to police reports, Solo was going crazy and hitting people. While the charges were eventually dismissed on procedural grounds in 2018, the incident created serious questions about Solo's temperament and judgment. What's most revealing is how differently U.S. soccer handled Solo compared to their male counterparts. While the Federation suspended male players for similar off-field issues, Solo continued to play without interruption. She started in goal throughout the 2015 World Cup, despite the pending domestic violence case. This special treatment highlighted the organization's willingness to overlook serious concerns to keep their star goalkeeper on the field. "We stand by our players when they go through tough times," said U.S. Soccer President Sunil Gulati in 2014, defending the decision not to suspend Solo. This statement would come back to haunt the Federation when later incidents proved impossible to ignore. As Solo's troubles mounted, her relationship with media deteriorated dramatically. She became increasingly combative in interviews, once walking out of a press conference when questioned about the domestic violence incident. Her autobiography, Solo, a memoir of hope, burned bridges with teammates by calling out perceived favoritism and politics within the team. Former teammates privately expressed frustration with her unpredictable behavior, while publicly maintaining a united front. Solo's combative relationship with the media foreshadowed an even more devastating conflict to come. In sports, legends usually get fairy tale endings with tearful farewells and legacy contracts. But what happens when one of the greatest players of all time is instead cut off without warning, left to spiral without the identity that defined her for decades? The 2016 Rio Olympics should have been a crowning achievement for Hope Solo. At 35, she entered the tournament as the undisputed veteran leader of the U.S. team, with 202 international caps to her name. Fans and teammates alike expected her experience and championship pedigree to guide the Americans to another gold medal. The stage was set for what many assumed would be Solo's Olympic farewell tour. Instead, it became the site of her career's sudden death. After a shocking quarterfinal loss to Sweden in a penalty shootout, Solo uttered 6 words that would change everything. "We played a bunch of cowards." She criticized the Swedish team's defensive tactics, saying, "The better team did not win today." What might have been dismissed as post-match frustration from another player became the final straw for U.S. soccer officials who had defended Solo through years of controversies. The reaction was swift and severe. Just 6 days after her comments, U.S. Soccer announced an unprecedented punishment, a 6-month suspension, and the termination of Solo's national team contract. U.S. Soccer President Sunil Gulati stated, "The comments by Hope Solo after the match against Sweden during the 2016 Olympics were unacceptable. For the first time, the Federation had decided that Solo's value as a player no longer outweighed the controversy she generated." The timing couldn't have been worse for Solo. At 35, she was already approaching the twilight of her career, and this sudden termination effectively ended her international playing days. There would be no farewell match, no celebration of her 202 caps, no chance to reach additional milestones. The goalkeeper who had revolutionized her position was unceremoniously shown the door. With her playing career abruptly over, Solo's life began a troubling downward spiral. In 2018, she attempted to channel her competitive fire into a run for U.S. soccer presidency, campaigning on platforms of equal pay and organizational transparency. She received just 1.4% of the vote. Her removal from soccer seemed to accelerate personal problems that had always simmered beneath the surface. The most alarming incident came in March 2022, when Solo was arrested in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, after being found passed out behind the wheel of her car with her 2-year-old twins in the back seat. Police reported her eyes were red and her speech slurred. Solo was charged with driving while impaired, resisting arrest, and child abuse. She later pled guilty to DWI, while the other charges were voluntarily dismissed. The financial toll of Solo's downfall has been substantial. Once commanding lucrative endorsement deals, her controversial exit cost her millions in potential earnings. Most elite players of her caliber transitioned to broadcasting careers, book deals, and paid speaking engagements, opportunities that largely evaporated for Solo. Legal fees from multiple incidents further drained her resources. Today, Solo lives a life far removed from her days as America's soccer hero. She resides on a rural property in North Carolina with her husband, former NFL player Jeremy Stevens, and their twins. Her public appearances are rare, and her social media presence has shifted from promoting brands and celebrating victories to sharing glimpses of a quieter, more isolated existence. In the end, Hope Solo's story isn't just about goals saved or medals won. It's about that dangerous line between necessary confidence and self-destructive defiance. The same unyielding spirit that made her perhaps the greatest goalkeeper in women's soccer history ultimately contributed to her downfall. Her legacy forces us to confront difficult questions about how we view strong-willed female athletes who refuse to soften their edges. Solo challenged the soccer establishment and paid a heavy price. While many celebrated her authenticity and refusal to conform, others viewed her behavior as inexcusable regardless of her talent. This tension reveals our complicated relationship with exceptional athletes who don't fit neatly into our expectations. Today, away from the spotlight that once defined her existence, Solo represents both warning and inspiration. A reminder that greatness often comes packaged with complexity. Her journey shows how the very qualities that elevate someone to the pinnacle of their sport can sometimes be the same ones that trigger their fall. And perhaps that's the most human part of her story. The uncomfortable truth that our greatest strengths, when pushed to extremes, can become our most devastating weaknesses. Hope. Solo's journey is a raw, unfiltered look at the price of greatness and the cost of falling from grace. From World Cup glory to financial ruin, her story forces us to ask, can we separate the athlete from the person? Should talent excuse turmoil? And is redemption possible in the court of public opinion? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you found this deep dive into Hope Solo's life compelling, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more untold stories of sports legends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.